Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're continuing our run into Grant Morrison's JLA, and we've reached JLA 1 million. Of course, if you know, I have been covering Grant Morrison since issue 1, and this took place during the 1 million event, which is, man, the computer generated graphics and stuff from the 90s is so, I don't know, it's kind of cool in a way. And so they had an event where they moved things to the 853rd century, which is where DC would publish its 1 millionth issue of, most likely it would be Action Comics, which is their first title. So it'd be Action Comics 1 million, and we'd all be long gone. So they decided to do this event here. And I am covering DC 1 million, so this takes place between or while issue 2 of DC 1 million is happening. So this is by Grant Morrison and Howard Porter. And we've got the future Superman, the future Wonder Woman, who's more like Namorita, and then, of course, the future Batman. All right. If you know Grant Morrison, you know that Grant Morrison is very, I don't know, weird. Man, again, look at these graphics. Um, this is so PlayStation number 1. Probably 16-bit. Or what was PlayStation actually? It wasn't 16-bit because I think Super Mario or Super Nintendo was 16-bit. I think that's 32-bit. So, all right. And so we have a Batman here, and it says here, Dynamic Dark Knight, Defender of Pluto, the terrible asylum planet. That is so far fetched. One half of the system's finest duo, the Cloaked Crusader, the Knight's greatest detective. His physical prowess is unequaled. His IQ 1045. So I'm gonna see if I can narrate this because sometimes reading verbatim through Grant Morrison's scripts can be a little bit, I don't know, hokey. So I'll do my best. So the future Batman was able to complete the solar computer core by putting in these insane ingredients. And so he says to save the 20th century, they have to create the greatest villain. And of course, they say this is worse than the time they reopened Pandora's box. And of course, we got future Superman here. And so this Superman says, I get it. And unfortunately, they're going to doom the Superman of the 505th century to the death of Dr. Solaris. And he says, but if they don't do it, everyone is going to die within hours. And of course, Grant Morrison tells us here, Solaris is the tyrant's son, one of the greatest primeval enemies of mankind, a super intelligent stellar computer with vast capabilities, heat, radioactivity, titanic intelligence, microwave transmissions, basically everything a star does. Gravity distortion. The evil star, once thought rehabilitated, Solaris has once again turned on humanity. And so that's kind of what the series 1 million is sort of about. And so Batman says that his powers are waning, and that is because he actually gets his powers from the red sun and not from the yellow sun. So can he leap to the moon? And Superman says he has no choice. He has to do it because the only the power source sufficient to activate Solaris is up there. So he's going to go try. And so Superman, scion of the Superman dynasty, the son of tomorrow, invulnerable, unbeatable, a genius, to the power of 10 Einstein units. Do you see what I mean? Morrison just comes up with words. And so his awesome abilities are bestowed by the light of the system's super sun on 20th century Earth. His power levels are dropping fast. And so Superman's going to jump up. And I like this kind of like he's drawing strength from the Earth or force from the Earth. And he goes up, up, and away. But he can't speak because there's no air in the sun. And of course, prisoners of the 20th century. Grant Morrison is our writer. He's also doing the 1 million limited series. Howard Porter is the penciler, and John Dell is the inker. And so here comes Superman. I really, really dig this pose. He's not flying, he's leaping. That is pretty cool. So I like Howard Porter. And so the 853rd century, Superman, Batman, Flash, Starman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Hourman. And of course, guest starring the JLA. So Steel, Huntress, Plastic Man, Zor-El, Big Barda, Manhunter from Mars, and Batman. Because Batman did not go with the other heroes. If you're wondering where the other heroes are, again, I have a playlist. They are involved in the 1 million limited series. And so we have the Watchtower. Again, a lot of computer generated stuff. So they see Superman's coming at 1/10,000th the speed of light. That's funny. And he'll be there in minutes. And Zariel says it's shaped like a man. Plastic Man says something dumb. I don't really care for Plastic Man, but Big Barda here, she's such a badass. Like, she's one of my favorites. Says we're about to go to war with the future. And so I'm gonna go ahead and read you the origins here of them as I'll get back to the narrating. So Zariel is an angel here. He's a self-imposed exile from heaven. The winged warrior has chosen to wear mortal flesh in his contest against the powers of darkness. Plastic Man, the dumbest character ever. I really don't like him. And then Big Barda, leader of the female furies of Apocalypse, warriors of the new gods, assigned to Earth as humanity's protector. I'm not big with some of these characters. Deadpool is another one. I might be the only person who doesn't care for Deadpool. Just don't care. All right. We've got the Huntress here. She says, hey, we're under attack. Do we have anything capable of getting the JLA back to the 853rd century? Huntress, basically Batman Light. And Steel says that he adapted this thing here. The Lord of Time left us some interesting hardware, but no instruction manual. And so we've got Steel here. If you remember, I don't know how many of you were alive back in the 90s when Shaquille O'Neal starred in a Steel movie. And so I think this is the last of the the last of the things here. Man of Metal, the Justice genius, the League's technological titan, wields the shattering power of his atomic hammer against tyranny and injustice. He's basically the JLA's Iron Man. The armor survived to 118th century, worn by Steel 7. So is there another Steel? I don't know. All right, we're going on. Okay. He says that they need power for the defensive systems here. And of course, she says, hey, you're the leader. You got to make hard decisions. And Steel says, who said I was leader? And he's like, and she's like, you're wearing the S. And so Steel is very cool. I like him. And I like this version of Steel. I think that's my favorite. And so, all right. So off they go here. Superman lands. He lands very hard. You can see the crunching and the power things. And so Zariel says Superman caused a 3.5 on the Richter scale. And so Steel here gathers the remaining heroes of the JLA. So Steele says they're from the future, they're more powerful than the current members, and they're infected by some virus. It doesn't look good, and that they're the JLA and they have a reputation to uphold. And Zariel says they are here, and so one light second away. Oh my goodness. So we are in the Great Wall of China and we've got Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash. Batman says that Superman's super telekinetic powers will be reorganizing the JLA's computer, or sorry, boom, teleport systems, and that they need to get ready, and that the JLA thinks that they're hostile, which isn't really what's going on, but it does seem that way. And so Batman is like, "Hey, let's get ready. We're gonna have to have a duel." And so we're gonna get um, their their origins here, but we're just sort of gonna skip over it. And so we've got the first boom, and we're gonna have one Wonder Woman against Big Barda again. I love this friggin' armor. I love this costume. Of all the things Jack Kirby has created, I think Barda is costume is very eye pleasing. The way the colors, the blue and the yellow, and the combination of it with the red on the and the red cape. I don't know. I think this costume. I don't know. I think it's so cool. So, all right. So here we go, and we've got a superhero fight. All right. So they hear the boom, so they're gonna go and investigate. And here Zauriel coming through the water here, and then Steel coming through, and he walks into this room here, and then another boom, and the Batman's gonna see. So future Batman, our Batman down here. And Zariel shows up and he says, "Why have you done these things?" So he says, "Stand aside." And he explains that he sent Batman's soul with his other teammates. He said he had his reasons, and he says, "I'm making sure his body remains healthy, and he's paying too much attention to him when Aquaman is right there." And of course, he's like, "Hey, the tower is ours." And so we've got Flash here, and of course, Plastic Man is all over the room. You can see his thing in here. And so here's Huntress, and she shoots a dart. There we go. That kind of makes him go kind of crazy. And this, she says, "Plastic Man, he's all yours." So, and Plastic Man basically has them trapped inside, which wouldn't work. I mean, Flash could get out if he wanted to, but I like Aquaman. "Hey, we don't have time for this. They may look like us, but their brains haven't been developed yet." Oh, he calls them throwbacks. And so Batman, of course, says these throwbacks are all that stands between the system and annihilation. And our priority now is to, and of course, Zariel comes out. He says, "I learned fast, and that trick's not going to work again." And so Batman's like, "Hey, we don't have time for this." So he presses the thing, takes the mask off. He says, "No mask, no deceptions. Look into my soul and tell me what you see." And Steel says, "Hey, all I had to do was push this button, and it would have created an EMT." And he says, I'm not gonna do it, because even though you may be the JLA from the future, you are still the JLA, and that S in his chest means the same thing to that Superman. And Superman here says, I'm holding the planet's last hope in my hands. We need your help. And so Barda and Wonder Woman continue fighting here. Again, Barda is so cool. And so here we have Barda. Look at her. She's just such a badass. Goodness gracious. And so Steel's like, thanks for returning the cannon particle, but you can put it down. We have a new plan. The Martian Manhunter says, hey, we've contained that Montevideo explosion, and the planet's survival is measured in hours, and asks Steel if he's making progress. This is the Hour Man from the future. And now Oracle. Oracle is, by the way, Batgirl. But during this time, remember, the Joker shot her in the 80s, so she's been paralyzed. But this is Barbara Gordon. And of course, this is a virus that infects people. It's like some kind of thing that makes them crazy. So, what's with the color scheme here? Wonder if that was a printing error. Steel says basically that's not going to happen. And Superman says we're all getting infective. We have 4 hours to build the Tyrant Sun. May the future forgive us. And so an hour elapses, and then, or is this 2 hours? I don't know. Anyway, so they're putting it together. They're working and building this engine. We don't need to really worry about the dialogue. The dialogue is sort of there to slow us down so we don't just turn the page. So we get to the last page here, and Starman comes through, and he's apparently the traitor here. Everyone's looking at him, and Batman says, Starman, I accuse you of betraying the Legion, the system, and the Commonwealth of Humanity. So why don't you tell us exactly what the Night Fragment is? And so the story will continue in DC 1 million number 3, which I will be covering next time. So JLA 1 million from, I think, 1996. Anyway, Grant Morrison, Howard Dell. Like and subscribe, and I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.